1969 Australian Grand Prix from Lakeside Circuit, headquarters of the Queensland Motor Sporting Club at Petrie in southeast Queensland. And it's a fine day with beautiful bright sunshine and conditions almost perfect for this 1969 classic. The 15 starters are on the grid, and with me this afternoon is New Zealander Bill Bryce, who'll take you through the grid prior to the start of the 1969 Australian Grand Prix.
And what a field it is indeed. We've got on pole position this year for the Australian Grand Prix, and incidentally this is round number 9 in the Tasman Cup series. We've got the Tasman Cup leader so far, Chris Amon, who qualified in 52.3 over 103 miles per hour average. And there he is in the Ferrari, and he is on pole position. Alongside of him on the grid will be the Englishman, 26-year-old Londoner, ex-Antonian Piers Courage in the Brabham. And then we come back onto the second row of the grid, and on the inside, well, that's Derek Bell. He's the third fastest, but alongside of him is the 1968 world champion in his Lotus. We're getting a little bit of work. The Lotus team have had a very, very rough trip so far across from New Zealand, and Hill's car still getting attention from the mechanics. With its nose, you can just see car number 6 is Frank Gardner. He's alongside of Jochen Rindt, and they're on the third row of the grid. There's Jochen Rindt, the Austrian. He's just joined the Lotus team, and you can see the high wing on the Lotus. It's a Lotus 49B. We move on to the fourth row of the grid, and behind them we have Leo Gagan in car number 7, one of the fastest of the resident drivers, and then alongside of him is his main opposition, I think, as far as the Australian side is concerned, from resident drivers, Kevin Bartlett, also from New South Wales. Behind them, we come across, well, the cameras come on to car number 9 and number 10. Number 10 is Neil Allen, who's just recovering from a very nasty accident here at Lakeside a few months ago. He's in his ex-Piers Courage M4A McLaren, a 1600cc car. Very, very fast indeed, and getting into the swing of things in fine style. Alongside of him on the grid in car number 9 is Max Stewart. He's the third member of the Alec Mildren team from Sydney, and he's driving also a 1600cc car that was built by Mildrens themselves based on Brabham components, and it has a 1600 4-valve Alfa Romeo engine. With the nose coming up again, we'll take you from the outside in again, is Glenn Scott, well known of course here in Queensland. A very, very well-known performer, and alongside of him, across on the other side, is car number 22, which is Hank Walters. He comes from Melbourne, and he's driving the Bill Patterson car. Behind them, we go on to the grid.
2-minute warning has been given.
Yes, well, we're getting near time. There's the 2-minute board has gone up. Number 16 is Alf Costanzo. He's driving also a McLaren 1600cc car, this time entered by Tony Osborne. Costanzo, possibly one of the bright lights of Australian motor racing at this stage, especially in the single-seaters. Across from him is car number 15, Cole Green, in a 1.5 litre car. And out to the rear of the grid, we have the Englishman, Malcolm Guthrie, who's come out here to compete with a 1.5 litre Repco Brabham, and he's out doing the Tasman Series for the first time. Well, that's the field as we got it. Of course, the most staggering news was how quick these cars are really going this year. They seem to have, all of a sudden, they're right in about, Amon is actually 2.1 seconds below the lap record. And there's, I think, the first 8 cars broke the existing lap record. Well, it won't be very long now before we see the field, and they're starting to fire them up and marshal them up into line and into their true positions for the start of the 1969 Australian Grand Prix.
The 1-minute warning has been given. The cars are being moved back into their positions on the grid.
There's Amon ready. You can see the aerofoil on the cars this year. There's the difference in Courage's car. He uses a front spoiler, a very high wing, as well as the big wing, and the Ferrari with a very small one, but a very slim car. You can see the front spoilers sort of protruding off the front of the nose. Car number 3 is the Tasman Cup. It shouldn't be very long now before they're running. There's the 68 world champion, Graham Hill. He's ready to go. Alongside of him is fellow Englishman, but Ferrari driver, number 2 in the team, Derek Bell, in car number 4.
Starters on his stand. Flag is up.
go. Amon's made a beautiful start. Amon really got the jump, and away he goes, already about 20 yards in front of Courage as they go into the first of the right-hander. And there he goes, number 3, Amon, in the Ferrari, dipping the nose. And he's made a break on the field right at this early stage.
They've been round through the carousel. They're coming round through under Shell Bridge, down round the tight Firestone Bend, up into the Eastern Loop.
And Graham Hill also made a very good start, because there he is in number 2 spot right behind Amon at this stage. So it's Chris Amon on car 3, sweeping down off the hill now for the right-hander. He'll clip through the edges, comes into sight now. Right in behind him is the 68 world champion Graham Hill. There's Piers Courage with a double wing. Derek Bell's there. The rest of the field streaming past down the main straight. Camera's slowing Amon a little there as he come into, still going very fast. There's Hill in pursuit of him, followed in by Courage. Number 3, Chris Amon, the Dino Ferrari. Amon really pulling the stops out now, looking for his double here. He won the New Zealand Grand Prix in January, and he's after the Australian Grand Prix as they've come down to complete 2 laps. Looking in the mirrors, look, there he goes now, looking to see what sort of break he's made on the field. Down come the rest of the field. And I think one of the main points of this early stage is how far back is Jochen Rindt. And here's Amon scaling it down through the hill again, getting out of the carousel and very nicely letting up for the left-hander. Goes through it in fine style. Behind him is still Graham Hill. And there's Courage moving up on Hill as they went through. He's starting to pressure him up a bit at this stage. They're nose to tail these first 3. We'll come back onto the rest of the field there and see them come down into view. But it's Hill now, still holding off. In second place, here's Amon, car 3. Hill, number 1. 5 is Courage. Bella's there.
I got Amon at 53 seconds, 101.886.
Well, that's a very fine time indeed, because the car itself is loaded up with fuel, and Amon seems to still be able to rattle in these 53s. Courage and Hill having a real old dice back in second and third place. There they go, nose to tail. Amon stretching it out now to 125 yards in front. He's lapping in 53s, as Clive Harburg told it. Bell, his teammate, is in 4th place. Frank Gardner's up there. And Jochen Rindt is having a lot of trouble trying to get past Australian driver Geoghegan. Amon now starting to stretch away from Rindt, I would think, his main opposition. But it's Hill coming down now in second place with Courage behind him. Bell is there in 4th place. Here's the second and third man. There's Geoghegan showing the way now to Rindt. There's 6 laps gone in the Australian Grand Prix, and it's Chris Amon in front from Derek Bell. Graham Hill in 3rd place. Frank Gardner's 4th. 5th place is Leo Geoghegan, and in a very rough sounding car in 6th place is Jochen Rindt. So they're the first place, and there's a retirement coming up into the pit lane now. We can look down across there. Piers Courage is out. And it's someone coming in. It looks like it's Bartlett. It's Kevin Bartlett coming into the pits. And someone else has spun down there. It's Neil Allen by the looks of things in car number 10. Neil Allen has spun off. Caution flags out again. So there's another one, and the pace is fast and furious. They've only done 7 laps, gone 60 laps to go. Allen seems to be okay, and he's away again. The McLaren, the M4A McLaren, 1600 cc's, car number 10, Neil Allen, just had a spin and recovering away onto the circuit again now. The retirement so far with 7 laps gone is Kevin Bartlett in the other Team Mildren car, and he's gone into the pit. But there's the leader, Chris Amon from New Zealand, number 1 Ferrari driver, and he's well out in front at the stage. Just see him working away nicely there. He's settled down into it very well at the stage of the little Dino Ferrari, going extremely well. Coming through, clipping the edges, sets up for the next corner. You'll see him come right across the circuit. Coming through now. These are the back markers coming across. Here's the second car coming across now. There's the third man on the screen, Graham Hill, followed then by Frank Gardner. And definitely Jochen Rindt's car is off song. We can hear it coming past us here on the point, and it's got a real miss in it. I would think it's down on about 7 cylinders already. Meanwhile, Amon still out in front, driving immaculately, showing why he is one of the fastest drivers in the world today. And he's pulled out a long way in front. We'll get you a time split on it very shortly, how far out in front he is. Lapping it around about 53s. The rest of the field just going up the hill now as Amon comes through. Now we'll wait, we'll give you some idea of how far out in front he is at this early stage. Here's the second, no, it's not the second man, he's lapped, the man behind. That the dark car was the Bell going through. And here's Hill, Gardner, Egan, Rindt.
Chris Amon's last lap, 53.1, 101.694.
There's no doubt about it. He's right in the middle of the groove at this stage, and barring anything happening to the car, I think that he looks, even at this early stage, to make a prediction is something really bad. But there's no one near him. And his teammate Bell is now starting to pull it. There's Bell going into the picture now for the left-hander, and the car behind him has been lapped. It's one of the slower cars, it's Guthrie. And there's the big Lotus going up the hill now, followed then by Geoghegan. And no, it's Frank Gardner in behind Hill. And then we've got Geoghegan and Rindt. These four very close together, and they're getting in lapping cars. But it's Bell coming in. He's the first man into the straight. There's Hill going around the outside of the slower car. There he is, number 1, Graham Hill. So Hill still is in third place. There's the second man, car number 4, Derek Bell in the Dino Ferrari. And he's backing up his team leader, Chris Amon, very, very capably indeed at this stage. There's the leader. It's Amon in the Dino Ferrari, car number 3. And you can see he's getting in amongst the tail enders already. They're on the 10th lap. 10 laps gone, and here's Amon passing one of the slower ones. They've got to pull out of the way, of course. That's Glyn Scott who gets out of the way for Amon to go past him. And they've gone out of the main straight. We're looking now and waiting for the rest of the field. There's Amon showing the way into the right-hander. It's Derek Bell, the first into sight across the start-finish line. Graham Hill coming in now, followed in by Frank Gardner, Leo Geoghegan, and Jochen Rindt.
Well, I clocked Derek Bell on that last lap at 54.8, which gives him 98.54. Chris Amon is the full length of the straight ahead of Derek Bell, leading in this 1969 Australian Grand Prix over 67 laps of this tight 1.5 mile Lakeside circuit.
Well now, on the second lap, the old record was broken. Amon set up a cracking 52.8 seconds, 52.8, which gave him an average speed. We're just looking across our chart here.
100.371.
Courage did a 53.3, but unfortunately, he dived on the inside on lap 5 it was, to go and try and get past Graham Hill, and eliminated himself from the contest. They're on the 14th lap, and the order is Amon, back to Bell in second place. Third is Graham Hill. There he is, car number 1 in the big Lotus. The Formula 1 car fitted with a 2.5 litre engine. Ford V8 powered, as away he goes now, but it's definitely today, it's the little Ferrari's day. They're fleet, they're outrunning these big cars on this tight circuit, and Amon in fine form indeed. He's sweeping round now past some of the tail enders. Here he comes, car number 3. You can see the speed of the car moving across the line now as the New Zealander gets it set up for the fast kink in the main straight. There he goes through the kink. He's passing cars right and left, taking it very, very steady, lapping it around about 54 seconds at the stage. A fine action shot of him there. You can see him working away in the cockpit of the little Dino Ferrari. Chris Amon. Now you'll see him drive around the bump here. There's a big bump there and he drives right around the side of it. He was doing this in practice to save the car. The experience of the international scene coming out in this 25-year-old New Zealander. He's been with Ferraris for 2 years now, goes back this year to lead the team again in Formula One racing. No doubt the find of the year in 62 when he went to England. Well, Amon's new lap record of 52.8 gives him an average speed of 102.272 miles per hour. That's the official new lap record set by Chris Amon, who you see on the screen there now, car number 3, at 52.8, 102.272 miles an hour, an average. And Leo Gagan, he's still back in 4th place, being harrowed through there by Jochen Rindt, but going extremely well indeed. I do believe he's slowing on the hill. Gagan could be in trouble. Gagan's in trouble, I think, at this stage. No, he's coming up through there now. One of the slower cars is probably Costanzo in a white car that we saw, just looking off the circuit a little. But we'll pick the rest up for you now as they come through. It's Cole Green. It's Cole Green coming into the pit runoff, and he's another retirement. The other retirement we have through coming into the pits was Kevin Bartlett, the Gold Star champion, but there's Derek Bell in 2nd place. Bell still in 2nd place. And he's pulling out a long way in front of Graham Hill, car number 1. Bell goes through the corner, very safety, very nice and tidy. Car number 4, Derek Bell, Ferrari number 2. And he's in 2nd place. Bell working away in the cockpit of the car, works a little more than Amon does at this particular spot on the circuit, but he's definitely improved his driving, no doubt, after this is his 5th race in a row, and there's the leader, Amon.
Graham Hill is driving pretty consistently around the 54 seconds to give him somewhere around about 100 miles an hour, and he's gradually pegging back Derek Bell.
Yes, well, we'll try and get a time split, I think, on the leader back to Bell, and then we'll see just how far out in front Amon is at this stage. Now, there's the 2 slower cars of Stewart and Costanzo. Here's Bell moving through now, and he's rubbing his goggles. Something wrong a bit there. There's Hill, car number 1. He's in 3rd place. Rintz moved through past Frank Gardner and Leo Gagan. Gardner with the big win. There's 1, Graham Hill. He's in 3rd place at the stage. And they've done 19 laps. 19 laps in the 67-lap journey gone. Amon swinging into view again, looking very, very relaxed at the stage. And there's the rest of the field. We're waiting to come into view. Going up round through the hill now is Rindt, but Bell has got a couple of slower cars. Costanzo down here coming down now off the hill. That's great.
At this stage, Chris Amon has a lead of 18.1 seconds on Derek Bell.
Well, that's a long way, Clive, on this it's a very tight circuit, 1.5 miles, and to have an 18.1 lead with only not even third the distance gone is showing just how quick Amon is really going. I think at this stage he'll be quite content to sit there. He's just coming past us now, car 3. He needs us. His main rival, of course, today in the Tasman Cup Series has eliminated himself in the early stages, Piers Courage, when he dived on in the inside of Graham Hill, lost it completely and had to retire. So Amon with 26 points needs this win, and he'll be in a very, very strong position for the 1969 Tasman Cup Series. There he goes, passing one of the slower cars. You can see him working away just round that bad bump there at the top part of the circuit as he cuts across the apex again in fine style, down the hill again, and he'll swoop down out to the outside of the circuit and chop across the corner, and you'll see him coming into it now. There he goes, straight across the corner, using the road, and then heads over towards the control tower to get the right line out of the main straight, or the kink in the main straight.
Still lapping consistently at 54 seconds to give him just on the 100 miles per hour average.
Well, the lap times that we've got for lap 10, this is the ones that they recorded. Amon went through in 53.4. Derek Bell was about a second and a bit behind him at 54.7. Then Graham Hill at 54.8. Gardner 55.6. Geoghegan did a very quick one at 54.8, as also did Rid. Some of the slower car, Max Stewart in the 57s. Walters is 57.5, and Glenn Scott obviously in a wee bit of bother doing 59s. Amon again into the main straight. .23 laps gone. Amon 19 seconds in front. Lap 23, Chris Amon in front by 19 seconds. There you'll see the nose of the Ferrari moving around as he accelerates and brakes it. He's braking, you'll notice the dipping of the nose. Amon up the hill again for the right-hander, out around the top of the hill, clips across the edges. His exits are absolutely perfect. He has the car on the same line every time. You'll notice coming through, clips across, and here he comes straight across the circuit to get it lined up for the next corner, which is the right-hander. Glenn Scott going through, followed by Neil Allen. They're a long way back in the field, of course, at this stage. The full 2.5 litre cars really making a go of it. We're looking, here's the second car in view now, Derek Bell in the Dino Ferrari. Graham Hill is right behind him, coming into view now. Down he goes. His teammate, Jochen Rindt, a long way back at this stage. And then Frank Gardner.
Graham Hill is still lapping at 54 seconds. Driving very consistently.
Yes, but he's still a second or so back on the Ferrari. Amon, I'm sure, could start to pull off 52s now if he had to. And there's no one on the circuit today that could match that with the cars they're using. There's no doubt about it. Leo Geoghegan going extremely well, held off a very determined challenge in the opening stages of the race from Austrian driver Jochen Rindt in the Lotus. Of course, the race was robbed of a lot of interest when Piers Courage went off. He retired in the early stages. There's Glenn Scott.
Chris Amon's lead has opened up to 20.2 seconds.
Yes, he's still only just, I would say at this point, Clive, trotting to do these 53-second laps, which he's just rattling off time after again. Another retirement we have is Alfredo Costanzo has come into the pits. He's retired. The retirements we have so far, Kevin Bartlett, Costanjo, and of course Courage, who crashed early on. Amon going past Guthrie, Malcolm Guthrie. There's the Ferrari dipping its nose on the acceleration and braking. They work extremely hard on this particular part of the course. Now he comes into the left-hander. Quite wide out really, because he wants to go around that bump that's there, which could no doubt could in time break the suspension or break one of the drive shafts on the car, and this would be indeed a pity at this stage. In the terms of an old motor racing saying, he's no doubt about it, he's blown them right off here so far today. He's making every post a winning post, getting a little in the rough that time, just clipping the edges. They use all the circuit, the internationals, right round through it. You'll see them out on the rough.
Forging further ahead on every lap, you know. He's picking up a tenth of a second or so on every lap. It was a faster lap by Chris Amon, 53.7.
Yes, he's keeping rolling on. He's keeping the pressure on at this stage. Obviously, he's well within the limits. It's Amon still in front. Rindt is dropping back further. Jochen Rindt in car number 4 starting to drop back further. This is Derek Bell, sorry, Rindt is number 2. Derek Bell, he's the second man at this stage. Rindt was number 4 in Australia, in New Zealand at least, and he's changed the number to 2 here. The leader coming through. In fact, I would think at this stage he's a good half lap in front of his teammate Derek Bell. Going up the hill now, right up through the top is Derek Bell, and he comes round through the lap. And coming in to make his entry into the straight now. That's Guthrie in front in car 21. Here's Bell coming through now, car number 4. And right in behind him is Graham Hill going across now. And then the next one with the big wing is Jochen Rindt. There's Hill going through. And there's Rindt with the big high wing going into the right-hander. There he is, the Austrian. Very fast driver indeed, but not having the best of luck here today, and he's really working. You can see how harder they're working in the Big Lotus than they are in the Ferraris at this stage.
Just clocked Kevin Bartlett at 55 seconds, which would give him about 98.181. He's driving a good race in about 5th position.
There's Leo Gagan, car number 7, in the Lotus, sets it through for the left-hander. Campaigned in the first 3 races in New Zealand this year. Didn't have very much luck, or didn't enjoy it terribly much. He had a lot of engine trouble over there, and car was not going too well, but here, back in Australia, seems to be in fine form indeed, and he's coming through into the straight, one of the fastest of the resident drivers.
It was Frank Gardner I clocked.
Yes, the two Mildred cars, very deceptive. They're very close to each other, of Gardner and Bartlett. Leo Gagan. Gardner going up the hill now, passing the slower cars. You can see the very high cockpit on this car. It was built in England for the Tasman Series and is powered with a full 2.5 litre Alfa Romeo engine. He comes through this corner very quick indeed, Frank Gardner. Down a little on power, I would think, on the Lotus V8s. The Ferraris, of course, using the V6 engine, the Dino engine, and Gardner using an Alfa engine, an Alfa Romeo 2.5 litre engine. And you see the long snout on this car. It's a full monocoque car built in England by Alan Mann for the Tasman Series. Alec Mildren, one of the top supporters of Australian motor racing without a doubt, has 3 cars entered here in the race. Frank Gardner, of course, is his number 1, and he's trying very hard indeed. Going up the hill now, and you'll see him go across the right-hander. Coming down, in this corner he comes through very quick indeed. Clipping the edge again, right out over onto the grass, using all the circuit. Gets himself set up for the left-hand kink in the main straight as he crosses the start-finish line. There's 32 laps gone in the Australian Grand Prix, and it's Chris Amon leading from Derek Bell, his teammate, in the other Ferrari. Graham Hill is in 3rd place. Then we have in 4th place is Jochen Rindt. In 5th place is car number 6, Frank Gardner. And then we've got Leo Gagan, who would be the first Australian at this stage. 32 laps gone. The retirements again that we've seen, Kevin Bartlett is out. Alfredo Costanzo is retired. And Piers Courage in the Frank Williams Brabham with the Ford V8 engine crashed early in the race. The leader, Chris Amon, car number 3, getting way through there very nicely indeed by one of the slower cars. Good movement indeed, and clears the way for the leader.
Chris Amon covered the 33rd lap in 53.5 to give him 100.934. Well, the race has reached the halfway mark now, and Chris Amon has a lead of more than 20 seconds on his nearest rival, Derek Bell. Derek Bell followed by Graham Hill, then coming Jochen Rindt.
Yes, there's no doubt about this. Could be a very good day indeed for the Chris Amon racing team. Amon is the number 1, Bell is the number 2, and at this stage, they're 1st and 2nd in the Australian Grand Prix. Bell holding off Graham Hill extremely well, as Cliver says that we've done half the distance, we've completed half the distance. Some of the official lap times coming to hand. On lap 20, Amon still circulating in 53.4. Bell was doing 54.5. Hill 53.8 when he was closing a little on Bell, but Bell's pulled it out again, and away he goes. Rindt 54.2, Gardner a 54.8, Geoghegan a 54.9. The leader, of course, Amon, still at 1 second up on anybody else, and doing it so very, very easily. There he is. A real close shot in there. Having a look at him. You can see the little V6 Dino engine based on the a Fiat engine it is. It's a Fiat block they use for this car. As through he goes up the top. The car's specially built at the factory. They use the Formula 2 cars, which is for 1600 cc's, and they fit the special, as they call it in modern, the Tasmania engine, and it goes in very nicely into the Formula 2 body and makes a very competitive little motor car for the Tasman Series. 2.5 or 2.4 litres, dipping the nose under braking. Cole Green coming out of the pits again. A long way back at this stage. "37 laps gone. 37 laps gone, and the order is Amon, Bell, Hill, Rindt, Gardner and Geoghegan. There's the second man getting way through by Cole Green. It's Derek Bell in the Dino Ferrari, car number 4. And Frank Gardner seems to be in trouble. His car number 6, is losing a lot of oil smoke, and no doubt about it, it's missing badly, and I would think that There it is on the screen. You can see the smoke pouring out of it, and I think Gardner must be a little aware that things aren't too well just at this particular point. He could make a pit stop. This we'll watch and see, and it'll be bad luck indeed for Frank Gardner if he has to come in. He's holding 5th position at this stage. Car number 6. Already we've seen one retirement from the Alec Mildren team. Kevin Bartlett was in the pits very early in the race, and he retired. On lap 5.
Gardner's continuing on his journey with smoke pouring out of his exhaust.
There it is, car number 6, and I think it's very near the running out of oil or blow up stage. His pit should be keeping him toasted as to what's going. In fact, they might call him in if he doesn't come in on this lap, I should think. The race, meanwhile, progressing. Amon still well out in front from Derek Bell. Yes, Gardner looks like, I would think, getting passed by cars there, and I should think we'll see him come in. Yes, he's cutting it off. He's cutting into the back of the pits. Obviously, something's wrong because this is a very, very unusual procedure, so I would think he would be in for final retirement. Guthrie coming down the pit road. It looks like Guthrie or Cole Green. Well, this is possibly the lap times that we've got for lap 25. The fastest laps were Amon did a 53.4, Bell a 53.9, Hill a 53.5, and Rint 53.7. Amon still keeping the pressure on that half a second or so. That was way back at lap 25. We're now on to lap 39, and the order is still Chris Amon by 23 seconds from Derek Bell, Graham Hill, Jochen Rindt. Leo Geoghegan has moved up a place now with the retirement of Frank Gardner. And they're the first 5 at this stage. The international driver, Piers Courage, was out early in the race and leading it to the rest, but the Ferrari team's day here at Lakeside today.
Nearly 22 seconds separating Amon from his teammate Derek Bell, lying in 2nd position.
And this is Bell coming into view now. The leader, Amon. And the second man, Derek Bell. Whoops, gets a wheel over the little there. You see him correct it, grab it very quickly so that nothing happens at this stage. He's under a little bit of pressure from Graham Hill, who's still in 3rd place, but Bell's made a break on him now by about 200 yards. And I've no doubt about it, at this stage it's the Ferrari 1-2. Look at Amon, takes this very distinctive line across. You'll see him come through the kink. There he goes through the kink. Up to the hill, the suspension working at its fullest. The right-hander cuts across the inside. He nearly puts a wheel, but just saves it from putting the wheel in the rough. A little bit bumpy there.
53.4 for his last lap, which gives him 101.123. He's gradually closing on Glenn Scott. He'll probably lap Glenn Scott and is closing the gap on Jochen Rindt.
The Lotus team have been in trouble since they come into Australia last weekend. Now, after the Teretonga Park race in Invercargill, New Zealand, and there's Graham Hill. Look at the smoke starting to work its way out of his car number 1. Not a very happy time indeed. They were caught really on the hop. Someone coming into the pits, I think it would be Hill, looking at the smoke, or is it Rindt? Very hard, it looks like Rindt. It would be Jochen Rindt at last retiring his car. And this is a very crucial race indeed. There's Frank Gardner looking very dejectedly standing there with his helmet under his hand as they run up to see what's happened with Rindt's car. Gardner, one of the early, he's just retired also, walking over as Rindt gets out of the car talking to the mechanic. So the pressure is really telling here at Lakeside. So So 45 laps gone by with the leader, and Hill's car was smoking. There's the smoke again coming out from it as he accelerates. Obviously something wrong there. It was smoking in the warm-up lap, and they were climbing all over the top of the car. So, but here's Amon looking for pit signals. Gets possibly the pit signal that definitely that Jochen Rindt is out. Amon having a very lonely drive, way out in front there by 21 seconds or so. Braking the car for another right-hand turn, right-hand corner, and then away he goes out over the top of the hill, down to the bump. And here's Graham Hill, car number 1. Bell getting waved through.
Graham Hill lapped in 54. He's still right on the 100 miles per hour average for the circuit.
The car's coming down behind the pit area, going extremely fast at this point. This is where Graham Hill lost his aerofoil yesterday. That's the big wing on the back of the car, exerting the pressure, about 400 or 500 pounds per square inch down onto the suspension, keeping the tyres on. He's getting waved through there by Guthrie. Third man at the stage, 1968 world champion Graham Hill. Not having a very happy Tasman series.
Continues to open up his lead on Derek Bell. Chris Amon is now 23.1 seconds ahead of his teammate.
And that was his teammate, Derek Bell, car number 4. Here's Amon. Coming through. Had a very disappointing season last year in 68 in Formula One racing. Was leading around about 23 seconds with 3/4 of the distance gone in the Spanish Grand Prix early in the season, was Amon, and the car retired through an electrical fault. He led in many other races throughout in fact was on the pole position or on the front row of the grid at nearly every Grand Prix last year. He was beaten very narrowly in the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch. He finished second there. And of course he started off the 69 season with a fine win indeed in Auckland, New Zealand for the New Zealand Grand Prix. This will be, if he gets through across the line on this one, the Australian Grand Prix will be the only other major Grand Prix that he's ever won. He's won the New Zealand Grand Prix 2 years in a row. He's leading the Tasman Cup Series by 26 points at this stage until the race is finished. And Hill is in trouble. Look, the aerofoil is packed up again. And it's rubbing on the rear wheel, and he'll have to make a stop. Graham Hill, this is a wee bit of drama here. We thought it was wobbling a little bit when he went through the section where it collapsed yesterday, and the aerofoil is down on his car again, and I'm sure he'll come into the pit runoff this time. He's still motoring very fast. He must know it's down. And it's hanging off the car, and definitely a danger at this point. He's looking in the mirror at the car, at the aerofoil. It must be rubbing on it, and I think that if he doesn't stop himself, they'll black flag him off, because this is definitely a danger at this point.
Oh, it had its effect on him too. He completed that lap in 58 seconds. His speed dropped right away to 93.103.
And there's the smoke again coming out of the well, it looks like it's coming out of the pipe. Car number 1, Graham Hill, in trouble again with aerofoil. And he's still motoring on. There he goes past Glyn Scott. And it must be just about sitting over the top. I don't think it's touching the wheel. It could be snagging it. If it does, it could flick it off. And if it does hit someone else, it could be indeed quite bad luck for the person behind. In fact, it would be very disconcerting. But Hill still going. He must have assessed it and feels that it's still safe, because he's not one to keep going if there's something wrong with it. There it is, hanging out over the side. It should be sitting up considerably higher. Jochen Rindt's identical car is sitting in the pits. It's retired. Piers Courage, of course, is out of the race with a crash early on. Well, it's only a matter of time. I think Hill must make a pit stop. If he keeps going like this, well, he's still in third place and really still trying just as hard. But the car must be handling terribly at this point without any of the wing giving it any of the assistance. Seeing the front spoilers, the big fins on the front, will be doing everything to try and wrest the front end of the car away from his control. We've got the clock on him, and will be interesting to see just how quick he is really lapping with the car in this position. 51 laps gone in the Australian Grand Prix, and it's Chris Amon leading from teammate Derek Bell. In third place is car number 1 on the screen. Fourth place and first Australian at this stage is car number 7, which is Leo Gagan.
Chris Amon still lapping consistently at 54 seconds, still up round the 100 miles per hour average for this 1.5 mile circuit. And he has a lead of, well over 20 seconds on his teammate and nearest rival, Derek Bell.
15 laps to go, and there's the leader, Chris Amon. Gets it into the left-hander, comes across very nicely, the slower car keeping out of the way because Amon has prepped right away.
Graham Hill coming into the pits.
And Hill's in. Here's the fast and furious work from the Lotus team. You can see the strut is badly bent. Hill motioning over his back. They're trying to saw it off, it looks like. I would think that, yes, there they are with the hacksaws sawing away to try and get the fin off, because this is the thing. And this will be definitely let Leo Gagan into third position. Fast and furious work. There's the aerofoil being pulled away. Hill now, ready to go again. And out he comes. And it'll definitely handle very funny at this point. The 68 world champion Hill in with the collapse of the aerofoil again. This is the second time it's happened to him in the consecutive days. There he goes now. Lotus 49 not having a very happy Tasman Cup Series at all, Graham Hill. Got into trouble in Auckland when a front suspension broke, and here's Amon. There's the third man at this stage, which is a first Australian at home, and in third place is Leo Gagan. He's right behind the two Ferraris, a long way back. There's Neil Allen pulling out in car number 10 to let Stewart go by, and here's Amon, car number 3. Ferraris at the stage with 54 laps gone, first and second. Very much at this point a high-speed demonstration from New Zealander Chris Amon as he leads the Australian Grand Prix by 24.5 seconds. Amon is the third car in this bunch. You'll see him go to the outside. Here he comes, swinging through, passing some of the slower cars. He's lapped those two cars twice already in the 52, and they're not slow at all because they're having a great dice there. Oh, Neil Allen, it looks like he's lost it. He has indeed. Or was it Stewart? Someone know it was Neil Allen again, just lost it on the corner, but recovered it very well indeed in car number 10, and he's away again. Had about 4 or 5 spins in the practice sessions and in the race. Not having a very happy time. Getting back into the groove though after a very serious smash here a few months ago.
Oh, Chris Amon doing it very nicely. Driving like a machine. He's now 25 seconds ahead of Derek Bell in second place.
And he swings into the straight again with monotonous regularity, clocking around about 54 seconds. There's the little Dino working away on the suspension, but handling it very well. You'll see him just, look, he puts it in the same spot every lap. He just gets it to the edge and holds it there, using the track, saving it all the time. Graham Hill, third. Well, he's back into fourth place. Was third for quite a way. He's lost the aerofoil. And the car must be steering diabolically at this stage, but he's still pressing on, showing just what a worthwhile world champion he really is. He won it in 1968. Second time that he's won it. Second car at the stage, Derek Bell, car number 4. Bell driving better every race on this Tasman series. Started off with a little bit lack of confidence in the first race in Auckland, but has come on from strength to strength. Graham Hill, Derek Bell.
You know, Bill, Leo Gagan is driving a great race. There's no doubt about it. I've got the clock on him now. After running into early misfortune, he's now running in 3rd place, and he's going over the Eastern Loop. Coming down towards Shell Corner now, and into the main straight. Leo Gagan, car number 7.
Yes, there's the white car on the screen now, and he's proving another old motor race that saying that you must stay on the circuit and you must finish to get the results. And he's driving extremely well. It's the best that I've seen. It's the best.
I clocked him for the last lap at 54, around about the 100 miles per hour.
Yes, he's giving it a better display than he ever did in New Zealand in the first 3 of the Tasman Cup races this year. And he's settling into it very nicely. Geoghegan elected to use no wings at all here, no assistance at all from the stabilizer or aerofoil, and here he is in 3rd place. First Australian at this point in the Lotus with the 2.5 litre Repco engine. And as he comes into the main straight, Derek Bell, the person who's in front of him in 2nd spot, is way out through the top, and there he is into the carousel now. Car 4, you see him working away, just keeping it on line. Could be just a little greasy at this point. Bell going extremely well.
Only 9 laps to go in this Australian Grand Prix. And here's Chris Amon.
Amon it is, once again, just on the edge of the road, using it all the time. Just getting the little clip of the bounce, but saving the car. As the race now, with 7 laps to go. 7 laps to go, Amon well out in front in excess of 25 seconds over his teammate Derek Bell. 3rd place is Leo Gagan. 4th place we've still got the world champion Graham Hill in car number 1. The retirements have been fast and furious. We saw Piers Courage go out of the race early in it with a crash. He tried to go on the inside of Hill, lost it completely, and was out of the race. Kevin Bartlett retired, Jochen Rinz retired, Frank Gardner had to retire, as the pace was a telling pace, and they never looked like getting hold of Amon. He made a perfect start, got away with a break on the field by 15 yards, and there he is, well out in front now by 25. So he's well over half a lap on lap time in front of his teammate Derek Bell.
And gradually working himself into a position where he could well overtake Graham Hill by the time this race is over. I've got the clock on Chris Amon again.
Yes, we've been getting official times of around about 53.5, 53.7, and he just seems to be able to get into this particular way and just rattle them off all the time. No doubt about it today, Ferrari's day here at Lakeside. Last week it was Piers Courage at Invercargill. The week before in Christchurch, New Zealand, it was a Lotus day. And here it is today. The Ferraris are getting their turn at it. Amon dropped back considerably on his lap times, and Derek Bell has increased his. Though Graham Hill, before he went in on his pit stop to remove the stabilizer wing, was starting to rattle in 53.6s. Amon once again seems to be able to get into this groove with very a lot of concentration, and there he goes past someone, acknowledging that they were pulling over. It's car 3. I think it was Graham Hill that he went past, car number 1. It was. Hill moved through to let him go because he's he's more than a lap or so in arrears at this stage.
Chris Amon is moving it along very smoothly. He's not extending himself. He did the last lap in 55 seconds, an average of 98.181. All he has to do now is sit there. He knows full well he has the race well in hand, He's just lapped Graham Hill.
Ferrari team just a little too many guns for the opposition at this race, and one that Amon dearly wanted to win. He told me yesterday that he was really after the double. He wanted the Australian Grand Prix because it is without a doubt one of the races holding a lot of prestige in world motor racing circles, and he was definitely after to do the double. There's Bell still getting a little bit in the rough, not quite as tidy as Amon through that corner, but still motoring on. He's travelling as fast as Amon is now. They're both lapping around 53.6. Amon coming to the inside again to get the run through the kink in the main straight. There he goes, through it very quick, clipping the edge. Quite a deceptive corner. They go through that one at around about 140 miles an hour. Give you some idea of the speed there. At full stick all the way down the main straight, and they can take that one with their foot flat in it, and which is around about, they're pulling about 140 miles an hour. Nice action shot of the Ferrari. Setting down the hill now, getting ready for the left-hander. You can see the braking mark. Amon wide again. He's really cutting a groove through there. Misses the bump altogether that's at the top. And round, cutting the apex again. Gets himself set for another chop across the corner. Then comes down the corner now. He'll move to the outside of the circuit again. He'll be right over on the left-hand side, and he'll cut across it. And here he comes back, just clipping the edges and then swings through. You can just about measure exactly where he's going to come out of. He's on the same line every time. There he goes again.
About a 54.3 for that last lap. Well, that gives him somewhere around about 99.5.
"64 laps gone. 64 laps gone. 3 to go. Derek Bell. Yes, the lap speeds have come back a little now. The pressure is off on lap 50. The lap times are 53.9 for Amon, 54.1 for Bell. Hill was doing 56.7. This is without the aid of the big wing, so it'll just give you some idea. And his car is still smoking badly, Graham Hill. As he comes down the main straight, lines up for the kink. There's the leader, Amon. And there's Graham Hill, car number 1. It's still smoking rather badly.
Chris Amon, 25.2 seconds ahead of Derek Bell.
And there's the second man, Derek Bell, at the Dino Ferrari, car 4. We're looking now at the leader coming in, Chris Amon.
Chris Amon,
he's done
on his way for his second last lap.
Yes, that's his 66, so he's around through. There's the third man, and driving well. Car number 7 was Leo Gagan. We're waiting now for the leader, and I should think the checkered flag would be coming out very shortly. Amon up the hill, I think, would be for just about the last time. Round he swings now. 1969 New Zealand Grand Prix winner coming down now, and there's the checkered flag, and he will create the double. Chris Amon of New Zealand has won the double, the New Zealand Grand Prix and the Australian Grand Prix, and he has taken round number 5 in the Tasman Cup Series. The number 1 works Ferrari driver, car number 3. And looking at, we're waiting now for the second car to come across the line down here on the start finish. And there he is, swinging into view, is the Ferrari number 2 driver, Derek Bell, and he will be second. He is second. The third car, Graham Hill, went across the line in between Amon and, Graham Hill was in 4th place. We're waiting now for the 3rd car, which will be Leo Gagan. Hill was running 3rd for quite a while. And it looks like Gagan swinging into view now out of the top corner. And it is car number 7, and he is the first Australian and home in 3rd position. There's the leader, or the winner of the race, Chris Amon, touring very slowly on the slowing down lap now, up into the top corner, getting a great hand indeed, and quite the crowd up through there, very popular indeed through there. With the crowd in practice yesterday, they were remarking on just how quick he was going. The marshals giving him the thumbs up sign, and it's Amon now who comes through, and he's really hit the front. He's now got 35 points in the Tasman Cup Series. His nearest rival is Piers Courage with 22. And there's the team, the victorious Ferrari team, down on there. You can see the prancing horses on the mechanics' jerseys there, on the shirts that they wear. A world famous sign indeed in motor racing and motoring general. And coming down now is Chris Amon.
The 1969 Australian Grand Prix won by Chris Amon driving a Ferrari. In 2nd place, teammate Derek Bell, also driving a Ferrari. In 3rd place, Leo Gagan of New South Wales driving a Lotus Repco. And in 4th place, Graham Hill of Great Britain driving a Lotus 49.